Hello everyone. This video is for my technical writing class as we move into the third week and focus on different types of writing this week. So last week we had a bit of a writing refresher. We learned about writing in different points of view as well as the appropriate times to use each point of view. I would encourage you guys to review that point of view presentation that I posted in the announcements to make sure that you are writing in the correct point of view for future assignments. Remember, for more academic formal papers, you're going to be writing in third person point of view. For personal writing or correspondence, documents like letters, emails, memos, you can use first person point of view. And second person point of view, your statements really should not be a part of your writing for the most part. This week we're going to be learning about different types of writing, and we're going to be working on outlines as well as thesis sentences. So we have the Thesis and Outline Assignment due on Sunday the 29th. You also have an opportunity to submit this assignment earlier on Wednesday the 25th or by Wednesday the 25th for preview. For those of you that don't know about the previews, the way it works is that you can submit your assignment early by the preview deadline, which this time is Wednesday the 25th at 11 p.m. Mountain Time. And then within 48 hours after that deadline, I will review, comment, grade, and return your assignment. And then you can make the necessary changes, updates, and improvements, and then submit the assignment again by the actual deadline, in this case, Sunday the 29th by 11 o'clock Mountain Time, 11 p.m. And that way your grade will be updated. So I would encourage you guys to take advantage of this if you have the time. It's a great opportunity. I don't mind even if you submit like partially completed work just to see if you're on the right idea or on the right track, if you have the right idea. It's a great opportunity to make sure that you get the most points possible out of an assignment. So if you have the time and you're able, definitely get your assignments in by the preview dates when assignments have previews. We also have the audience discussion taking place this week. It goes from Wednesday the 25th through Sunday the 29th. And this is an important thing. Your first posts must be made by Friday the 27th. This is different than our previous two discussions where the first posts had to be made by Saturday of the week. Now that we are into class, we've got the hang of things. The first posts for all discussions moving forward need to be in by the Friday of the week. That will give us the weekend to reply to one another, and hopefully spark even better discussions than we've already been having. So again, your audience discussion is going to go from Wednesday through Sunday, Wednesday the 25th through Sunday the 29th, and your first posts need to be in by Friday the 27th. This discussion is going to ask you to think about how to communicate the same piece of information to 3 different types of audiences. And this is an important part of rhetoric, of effective communication, of persuasion, of getting your point across to someone. We naturally, sort of subconsciously, change the way we communicate to suit our audiences. I don't speak and write necessarily the same way to all of you as I do to a class of freshman high schoolers. I also don't speak and write the same way to all of you as I would to my family and friends or to my administration and bosses. My language changes, my tone changes, my attitude changes. All of these things are parts of effective communication that we all do on a day-to-day basis. But being an effective writer and an effective communicator involves consciously considering what your audience is or who your audience is, and how you can then shape your language, shape your word choice, your tone, your format even, to best meet those individuals, that audience. So that is what this discussion is going to be about. I hope it'll be a good one. I look forward to seeing what things you guys have to say. I also want to talk a little bit about our thesis and outline assignment. So I posted a Prezi. It is in the announcements, and it should serve somewhat as a guide for you guys to complete this assignment. But hopefully what I cover here will also be of assistance. So the first part of the assignment is to write a thesis sentence. A thesis sentence is probably the most important sentence in an entire essay. It is a sentence that tells the reader exactly what the argument is and what the paper is going to be about. They usually go at the end of an introduction. There are some exceptions to that, but generally for our purposes, our thesis sentence should go at the end of the introduction. And a thesis follows the following format: topic plus stance on that topic plus reasoning. So as a sample, or as an example, I guess, I might want to argue that Christmas is the best holiday. So my topic, Christmas, my stance is the best holiday. And then we just need reasoning. So there are two types of thesis sentences. One is called an open thesis, and that is when you don't really provide specific reasons in your thesis sentence. And that allows a writer to leave it more open-ended and to explore a lot of different reasons. So if my thesis was open-ended, I might just say, Christmas is the best holiday. I didn't give any reasons in the thesis. The expectation then is that I'm going to provide the reasons as I continue on in the essay. Usually open theses are great for large projects. If you were writing an extended seminar paper, a true thesis, end of a dissertation, you might want to have an open thesis because it gives you, as an author, as a writer, it gives you lots of room to play with, to come up with different ideas. For a smaller paper like the one that we are going to be writing, I would recommend using a closed thesis statement. A closed thesis statement is just that topic plus the stance plus 3 reasons. So for example, Christmas is the best holiday because there is great food, we spend time with family, and there are presents. I've given you the topic, Christmas, the stance is the best holiday, and 3 reasons. This sets it up so that those 3 reasons and those 3 reasons alone need to be discussed in the essay. A good thesis statement is hugely important for the structure and order of your writing. It is really clear as an English teacher when a student hasn't thought about a thesis statement. Usually what it ends up happening is your brain just sort of word dumps onto the screen a lot of different ideas that aren't necessarily in any sort of chronological or otherwise order of any kind, which is perfectly fine for rough drafts or to get started. But when you're wanting to have a more concise, complete essay, you need to have a thesis statement that sort of serves as a roadmap for where your paper is going to go. So that is the first step of the assignment, is to write a well-developed thesis statement. It should be third person, meaning it should not have any first person statements involved in it. So your thesis should not be something like, I believe Christmas is the best holiday. It just should be third person. Christmas is the best holiday. And again, try to follow the format of topic plus stance plus 3 reasons. So if you were going to be discussing the legalization of medical marijuana, I know a few students suggested that they wanted to use that as their topic. You could do a three-part closed thesis statement, something like medical marijuana should be approved for cancer patients because it is cheaper than traditional medicine, reason 1. It is non-addictive, reason 2, and it improves appetite, reason 3. The second part of this assignment is to develop an outline. Again, the presentation that I posted in the announcements should help quite a bit with this. An outline is basically the skeleton of your paper. It is a pre-writing step to help you organize your thoughts, group similar ideas together, and create a logical structure and flow for your paper. Again, It is really easy as an English teacher to tell when someone wrote an essay that doesn't have an outline or that didn't come from an outline, because ideas tend to not be in the best order or organization. They tend to it tends to weave back and forth between ideas, as opposed to having a clear path throughout the paper. So it is important to develop outlines, because when we are writing, our brains are sort of in this weird space of like, we're thinking about ideas and writing as those ideas come. And our brains, or at least my brain, doesn't really organize things the best, right? And so you may have great ideas that come by just kind of stream of consciousness, letting your mind and your fingers on the keyboard or your pen in your hand work together. And that's totally fine. But then you want to take those ideas and organize them into something that makes more logical sense, whether that's grouping same ideas together or doing a chronological order. Outlines generally have 3 sections. So your outline should have an introduction section, a body section, and a conclusion section. And these just correspond to the 3 main parts of any good essay: an intro, a body, and a conclusion. You ideally should have what is called a 4-level outline. What this means is that your outline will have 4 levels descending in order for each section. So that's a little confusing to say, but as an example, and again, if you refer back to the presentation I posted, I explained this with a visual example that will probably help you. But your first level is always going to be a Roman numeral, and it should be the main section. So if we are starting on the introduction, it would be Roman numeral 1, introduction. Your second level is always going to be a capital letter, and it is going to be like the main point. Then your third level will be an Arabic numeral or regular number, and it'll be like a sub-detail. And then your fourth level is a lowercase letter, and it will be like a very specific detail. So the 4 levels, it goes Roman numeral, capital letter, Arabic or regular number. I'm sure there's a better word for it than regular number. And then your fourth level being a lowercase letter. And you should do this for each section. So your second section would be Roman numeral number 2, body. Then you could have a capital letter A, a capital letter B, and a capital letter C corresponding to those 3 main points. Then under each main point, you could have 1 or 2 Arabic numerals that would be corresponding to specific sub-details for that main point. And then beneath each of those, you could have a lowercase letter or 2, lowercase a, lowercase b, which would be like the real specific details. So that's the general format for the outline. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing to speak about it without a visual aid, so please go check out that presentation. I really think that pre-writing, doing things like brainstorming, coming up with outlines, developing a thesis statement, it's the sort of work that students usually don't like, because you just want to sit down and hammer out a paper. And some of you may be good writers and you may be able to do that, but your work will be better if you do a little pre-writing, if you organize your thoughts into an outline. I outline pretty much everything that I do, anything that I have to write or speak about. I outline it ahead of time, just so that I don't get sidetracked. Especially when I'm teaching in person, I'm trying not to do it in these videos, but especially when I'm teaching in person, I have a tendency to just go off on a rant, get distracted by some idea or some question. And an outline helps keep me on track, and it helps keep my writing on track. So that is the work that we're going to be doing this week. We're going to be discussing audiences and how to best target an audience and change our wording and our approach, our format, our word choice, our tone, all of those things to meet an audience. And then we are going to be working on our thesis sentences for the formal report as part of our portfolio, as well as an outline for that formal report. I hope this helps. If you have any questions about anything that we've discussed here, just let me know, and I'd be happy to explain it in more detail. Until then, see you guys later.